Governor Newsom and the legislature now have a major task ahead of them, figuring out how to use your taxpayer dollars in a year with a lot of uncertainty. The governor says more work needs to be done to invest in education, reduce the cost of construction, combat crime, rebuild homes destroyed by wildfires, and implement a sustainable insurance strategy. This week, the governor's finance department announced it's projecting a budget deficit, though, of about $2.9 billion. That's a major difference from the legislative analyst's office, who has projected that number in November to be $18 billion. Joining us now is H.G. Palmer, the spokesman for the Department of Finance. H.G., thank you so much for making time for us.
Thanks for having me.
H.G., so those numbers are very different between the legislative analyst and the Department of Finance, in part because the LAO is factoring in several risks, from the excitement over AI in the stock market to potentially slow and a possible economic downturn. Why is the governor not considering those risks in this forecast?
Well, we are considering those risks. In fact, we stated right up front of the first chapter of the budget, we say that a market correction is a significant risk to the budget. What the legislative analyst has done in their forecast is to basically incorporate that into their revenue forecast, assume that as a foregone conclusion. And as a result, their revenues are significantly lower than the ones we have in our forecast. We have a lot of confidence in our forecast. One way to look at it is this: if you look at how much money increased in revenue it would take to be able to meet that lower forecast by the legislative analyst, it's $11 billion worth of growth between April of last year and June of 2027. Just in the last 9 months of this year, we've already exceeded our revenue growth, our projections, by $10 billion. So we're almost there. It would take either a flatlining of revenues or a collapse of them for that to come to pass. What we're seeing with our professional economists and our forecasters in the economy, in the market, and in the cash we've already received to date, tells us and informs us that we're going to do better in our forecast than that projection by the LAO. Not a criticism, but a comparison of our forecast. And because of that, our revenue forecast is higher, and as a result, our shortfall that we projected, nearly $3 billion, is different from the LAOs.
Right. I spoke with Republican State Senator Roger Niello, who's also the vice chairman of the Senate's Budget Committee. He actually noted California is in a strange situation where it is bringing in more money than expected and really doing well when it comes to revenue, but at the same time facing these major structural potential deficits of up to $35 billion a year starting in July of 2027. He said that's alarming. How would you respond to that?
We've projected that we're going to have a shortfall in the following year as well. The budget that the governor sent to the legislature this past week is balanced for the coming fiscal year, and it has reserves combined of about $23 billion. And that's an insurance policy against the kind of risks that we've just been talking about. We recognize that there's going to be a shortfall in the coming year, in part because of the growth of program cost, in part because of the additional costs that the federal government has put on us over the last year. And so the governor recognizes that, and that's why he said we're going to come back when we revise our budget in May, when we have an updated economic forecast and we have an updated revenue forecast. We're going to put solutions on the table, not only to close the budget gap for the coming year, but for the one that follows as well, when he's not even going to be here. So he's already looking over the horizon.
But why wait until May to figure out some of these big issues that are facing the state's finances?
Well, we're still looking at those right now, number one. Number two, the circumstances are going to change. In case in point, why don't you have $22 billion in cuts in this budget as well as you have now? We've got a lot of uncertainty right now, particularly in the area of healthcare. When you look at the subsidies that are just gone off of the books for folks that are on Obamacare, Covered California, the state's health insurance broker, indicates that that's probably going to throw 290,000 Californians off of the rolls. The changes in Medicare law, or Medicaid law, excuse me, that Congress passed last year are going to begin to remove another hundreds of thousands from the rolls just starting in the coming year. So at a time when there's a lot of uncertainty in things like healthcare, we believe it's prudent to plan for it and look ahead, but to wait until we've got those updated forecasts before we take that next step, which the governor says he intends to do after this balanced budget proposal for the coming year.
The governor has prided himself on giving this budget presentation, and he has taken hours of questions from reporters over the years on this subject. But this year, I mean, without an emergency, he did not do that. Where was he? Why didn't he take questions from journalists?
Well, he did. I can't answer why he was not there. I don't have his personal schedule. I will tell you that when he delivered his State of the State address the day before, he covered a lot of the major points on the budget. He talked about how large it was, what the growth in revenue was, some of the major proposals that he was going to put forward in terms of additional $1 billion for community schools, for his reform of the education governance system. So he covered a fair amount of that ground in his remarks. Traditionally, the Director of Finance and our staff handle a lot of the details after the governor's remarks. This year, he chose to advance it by one day.
All right. H.G. Palmer, we appreciate your time. Thank you.